Hello, welcome to Master Mathematics. My name is Mr. A, and in this video, you are going to learn how to add and subtract decimals. So I have 4 steps here written out for you. Let's get right into them. Step number 1 is to rewrite the equation so that the decimals are stacked on top of one another. And I'm going to make up an example just right here as I'm doing this. And let's say my first number is 1.23. or 1 and 23 hundredths, and my other number is 4 and 5 tenths. All right, and for the sake of this, let's say we are adding them. All right, so now I've got my equation written down. The decimals are stacked on top of one another. This is really important because you need to do the math as you would any math, making sure that your place values are properly lined up. So in 1 and 23 hundredths, 1 is in the ones place, and in 4 and 5 tenths, 4 is in the ones place. Those numbers are lined up. My decimals are lined up. My tens are lined up. And in 1.23, I have 3 in the hundredths place, but in 4 and 5 tenths, I don't have anything in the hundredths place here. So this goes to step 2. Step 2, you are going to write in any placeholder zeros that are needed. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to write in a 0 here. Okay, and I can do that because that doesn't change the value of the number. 4 and 5 tenths is the same thing as 4 and 50 hundredths, right? That 0 doesn't affect anything, but it is beyond helpful to have in this equation, so this way you account for doing all the steps in the problem, and you account for adding in the hundredths place there. Now, step number 3, you are going to bring the decimal point down into the answer. So this is before we do any math, we're going to bring the decimal point down. I'm going to write it in right there. There's my decimal point. The reason for this is it can be real easy after you do the actual math, in this case the addition, to forget to put the decimal point there or to put the decimal point in the wrong spot. So we're going to avoid that by just bringing it right down in the equation right away. And then step number 4 here is you are going to add or subtract to solve the equation. So since my equation here is addition, I am going to add. And same thing, I'm going to work right to left. 3 plus 0 is 3. 2 plus 5 is 7. And 1 plus 4 is 5. So my answer to this equation is 5 and 73 hundredths. All right, pretty straightforward, but super important that you go through all of the steps and that you are meticulous and detailed with those steps, that you don't rush through them, that you take your time to do them. Let's look at 2 more examples, and when the examples come up, I want you to, now that we did the one example here, I want you to pause the video and check to see, follow these steps and see if you get the answer correct, okay? So let's look at these 2 examples. All right, the first example here is 0.25 or 25 hundredths plus 0.33 or 33 hundredths. All right, my first step is to rewrite the equation so this way the decimals are stacked on top of one another. So I'm going to do that. And then while I am doing this, think about what the second step is, or check your work. Check to see if you did this properly. All right, and this is an addition problem, so I'm going to add my addition sign. I'm going to add my equal bar. All right, step 2, I need to check to see if there's any placeholder zeros. I hope that you did that. And when you look, there are none. Okay, each number is written to the same number of place values, so I don't need to add any placeholder zeros. And step 3, yep, you got it. Bring that decimal point down right away. And then I work right to left to add and solve the equation. 5 plus 3 is 8, and 2 plus 3 is 5, and 0 plus 0 is 0. So our answer is 0.58 or 58 hundredths. Check your work, make sure you got that correct. I'm sure you did. That's a great job. Let's move on to example number 2 here, or it's not numbered, but the second example here. All right, we have 7.65 or 7 and 65 hundredths minus 4.32 or 4 and 32 hundredths. So step 1, rewrite the equation so the decimals are stacked. Let's get this done. It's a little tricky for me to do this because I'm working on a mouse here, and sometimes writing these numbers can be tough, especially ones with like there's 6 digits I had to write there. All right, but we got it. Okay. Step number 2, check to see if any placeholder zeros are needed. In this case, nope, no placeholder zeros needed. All of the place values line up. All of them are filled in. We're going to work with what we have here. Step number 3, we're going to bring the decimal point down. Let's do that right away, and then let's subtract right to left as well. So 5 minus 2 is 3. 6 minus 3 is also 3. And look at this, 7 minus 3, guess what? That 2 is 3. Check your work. Did you get the answer? Did you get it correct? If so, great. If you didn't, no big deal. See where you made your error, correct it, and next time, make sure that you don't make the same error. All right? So, thank you so much for being here. Once again, my name is Mr. A. This is Master Mathematics. If you haven't liked the video yet, please do so. Please subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications this way. Every time a video is posted, you'll be notified and you won't miss it. Thank you once again so much for being here. Adios.